Hi guys, today we're going to be talking about the idea of bigger. So to do that, I'm going to start by saying something that might bother us a little bit, but it helps bring the message across if we realize how small we are. So what do I mean by that? Well, we have these nice little egos, and they're really good at taking big ideas and simplifying them for us. Things like, my name is Giselle, and I'm a 13-year-old, and I go to this school. I live with my mom and my dad. My name is Bob, and I'm an engineer at so-and-so company. I've been there for 12 years. I wear a tie every day. I am this tall. I am in this body. I am on this planet. I have this style, these tattoos. I drive this car, and so on. We define ourselves with these ideas that we put into these nice little boxes. And that's really useful, obviously, for day-to-day living. But it starts to break down when we start to think about bigger ideas. And like I said before, the law of correspondence, if I'm talking about something bigger, I'm immediately also talking about smaller. But if we start thinking of, let's say, time before you were born, right? Well, the ego just doesn't, it may as well be fiction, right? Let alone time 1 million or 1 billion years ago, right? Or 1 million or 1 billion years in the future. The ego is a very impermanent, very stuck in the moment mentality. So it's very limiting. And we can take that same concept to the size of the Earth. Even though we're born on this planet, we live on this planet, and we're going to die on this planet, that statement in and of itself almost feels fake. But most of us can't even comprehend the size of the planet. The planet is enormous, and we live our entire lives on it, yet we barely even conceive of the scale of the Earth, let alone the fact that the Earth is just a tiny thing in the scale of the galaxy, let alone in the scale of the universe, and so on. So when we think about ideas like the planet and our solar system and the galaxy and the universe, it almost feels like fiction. It may as well not be real. We're never going to physically experience this, so why bother with it? And even if you're a scientist, it doesn't matter if you're a very rational or logical, even a very spiritual person, this idea of bigger still applies. We think of these ideas, but as far as we can truly conceive of them and live in that idea of how big and amazing this whole thing is, our minds just aren't made for handling things that big usually. So we really do lose scope of how amazing and big the universe is. And as tiny as we are in the scope of the universe, we're also enormous. We're huge. You are an amazingly huge giant. You're made of trillions of cells, and you're made of trillions upon trillions upon trillions of tiny little organisms, bacteria and fungi and so on. These tiny little life forms that make up these big, vast systems and form this superstructure that is you. You are an amazing, complex, huge being composed of all these things. And if we go smaller still, those small bits of us are composed of even smaller things, molecules, atoms, and so on. And even if you look at an atom, the size of an electron is tiny compared to the size of a proton. The distance between a proton and electron is enormous. And we get so caught up in our day-to-day life that we just tend to lose scope of this really fundamental truth that we are enormous and tiny, and everything else is enormous and tiny. And I don't mean just the physical universe. Your mind, your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs. If you're a priest or religious or spiritual, a yogi, even a leading scientific mind in the world, we still are so small when we look at how vast reality is. And we're just scratching the surface of this in science. We're learning about dimensions and parallel realities, the quantum world, space travel, interdimensional travel, things that we're proving are real, and we're slowly learning through experiments how amazing and vast this whole thing is. And ancient. You are billions of years in the making. It's taken billions of years to get where we are. And this is relevant because in the world today, we all get so caught up in our little lives and our little minds, and a lot of us think that we get it. And we think, oh, my Instagram picture just got 1,000 likes, so I get it. I'm doing it. I'm living it the right way. Or, oh, I'm a doctor. I see dozens of patients a day. I make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. You know, I'm in. I'm doing it. Or even, I'm a priest. I teach people about God and the truth. I know what I'm talking about. I understand it. But the truth is, most of us just really don't have a clue. So why is this relevant? It's relevant because this is the universe that we live in. We are mortal. Our lives are here and then gone. Our bodies are very impermanent. It's all just so small when you look at the bigger picture. All of this, our politics, our science, our education systems, our government, it's all this silly, frivolous little game that we play. And a lot of us just take it way too seriously. You are a human being. You are the product of billions of years of evolution. Or if you like, you are a divine creation in the image of God. And most of the time, all you can think of is how you're going to get to work on time the next day. And a lot of us are caught up in these silly dramas and vanity and selfishness. And I'm not trying to point fingers or call anyone out. We're all guilty of this. But we could do for some humility and for some truth when it comes to this idea of where we fit into the universe. A lot of us are running on this short-term reward system in the brain, especially with social media, posting things online, getting instant gratification, likes, messages, subscribers, or a raise at work, or whatever it is. And we get caught in this lie that that is it. Oh, I got my job, so I did it, I made it. Oh, I got the girl, so I don't need to do anymore. So how is this useful? How can it help us? Well, like I said, because we get so caught up in these petty ideas, it's really healthy for us to take a step back and accept the truth. I'm here and I'm alive. That's amazing in and of itself. And it's only for so long. And I'm only so big. I can only do so much. If you start to look at these ideas and be honest about it, you can see how truly amazing you are. And at the same time, how truly small and insignificant you are. You know very little, and you have so much growing to do, so much learning to do, so much that can still benefit you. And we've talked mostly about the universe and the scale of the universe and the quantifiable, measurable, scientific world that we understand, but that only goes so big, and then comes infinity. And a lot of people on both sides of the spectrum, whether it's religious or philosophical, scientific-minded people, we all have our biases and we all tend to think that we're on the right track and that we get it. But the truth is, we could all work on being a little bit more humble in how we see ourselves and everything and everyone around us. Reality is stranger than fiction. The most far-fetched ideas, the most outlandish fiction, books, movies, novels, stories, in the scope of infinity, it's nothing. So hopefully this idea challenges you to look at your worldview and see where you might be holding yourself back and how certain ideas and beliefs might be limiting you to see the grander picture of who you are, what you are, this amazing universe that you're in, and how much further we can all go. So that's it for this idea of bigger. I hope it sparks some brain cells and just serves as a reminder to think bigger, and however big you think, go bigger still, and you'll still only scratch the surface of this amazing, complex, enormous, ancient reality. Thank you for watching, guys. If you liked the video, please feel free to subscribe. I'd love to hear what you think in the comments, especially opposing views and ideas. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.